This is a very beginning of the library automations concept in 229 of BLIS course. Here you can see the Unit 1 Introduction to Library Automations. What are the content we are going to study in this chapter? Let's have a look. It's normally the objective of that particular chapters, then introduction, evolution of library automation, automated library system, rationale, prerequisite and steps, procedural model, traditional, automated and digital, three era of library system, automated library system, standard and software, standards, software both differently, automated library system, global recommendation, OLE recommendations, ILS-DI recommendations, request for proposal, which is called RFPs, automated library system, development of RFP, automated library system, trends and future, then summary, then set exercise, keyword, referencing, and further reading. So when you think of a library automation, then you must know that different kind of work jobs are there in the library automation. Specifically, the automations is normally done in a housekeeping operation of a library. So before automations, the most important aspect is your manual work should be clean and clear and in a very methodical way. If you do not done the manual work in methodical way, you cannot apply computer on that, because computer, it's a set of process. It will do one by one. So that's why we need to create a wonderful and very methodical and very scientific manual system into our job process. Here you can see we have a acquisitions. In acquisitions, normally we call it's a procurement of library document. We'll select, we'll order, we'll receive, we'll accession. That is the state work. Then processing, we'll classify it. When we got the book, we'll accession, then we'll classify it. Unless you classify, you cannot go for the cataloging. Then we'll paste a different label. Then we sell it. Now, what use locate, list, land? Then we locate it, we'll create list, we'll land it, we'll give it to the loan or reserve it, we recall it, or we interlibrary, put it for the interlibrary loan or photocopy. At the end of the day, we normally do binding of those, some replacement, some old books gone replaced or some missing books. So we're weeding out all those books. And if we find some of the books is not using for a long time, then we can go for the discard, right? So this is the set process of a normal manual system. Now, when you talk about the library automation system, then the concept is the acquisition, cataloging. That is the basic requirement of an automation system. Acquisition, cataloging, pattern management, circulation, then serial control, report, then open. Now, acquisition is a set process where you are going to acquire some kind of book or document for your library. Either it could be a book, either it could be a journal. If it is a book, then you have a set process how we are going to purchase all those things. Then when it came to your library, then you can go forward for the cataloging. Then your work almost done in sense of library resource management. At the same time, patron came, the members came to the library. When they came, then you have to create kind of a list or patron management system or the member management system or user management system kind of thing. Then you use the different criteria any library, it has its different users, and their criteria is different. Criteria means some of the, suppose you take examples of the academic library. In academic library, you will find some are the students, some are the research scholar, some are the professors, right? Sometimes it's non-teaching staffs also. So they are there. So how you are going to manage all those things? Then circulation. To whom you are going to circulate the book, that is important. So this needs a lot of prerequisition. Why prerequisition is required there? Because you cannot put the same criteria for the user, student and teacher. Teacher may have, library can be more generous to them for the giving more books, right? But in case of student, you can restrict them for 4 books, 5 books, 10 books kind of thing. So you have to generalize all those things. Then important aspect is for how many days you are going to give the books. And then immediately, what will be the fine charges, library due charges? For student, it will be different. For teachers, it will be different. So these all concepts can be carried out in this circulation section. Then it is coming to the serial control system. In serial control system, it's little complex. It's not like a book. Here, what you are going to do, because when you are acquiring one serial or one periodical from a vendor, suppose a serial or a journal published monthly. So when it's published monthly, so when it's come in a whole of a year, when it's come 12 issues, then it's become a 1 volume, or you can say that could be a count as a book. So one single journal cannot be counted as a book. When it's clubbed together in 1 volume, then it's called normally, we can treat as a library document, and we can put it into our accession number, accessioning register. So you have to generate a lot of things. And acquisition of serials or journals, it's not like book, because in book you have a straightforward vendors. You are giving directly order to the vendors, but in serial controls you have a vendor, you have agencies right there. So you have to choose what the best one. Then you can sometimes directly were publishing the journals, you are directly asking them to give. Then coming to the report is another important aspect in any library system. So every report will say something, because when you are think for creating some kind of decision or making some kind of decision, on that decisions, report is important. Suppose I want to purchase books for the library. Now, to which particular department I am going to give much more amount, that is important. And that can be decided from the report itself. So report, everything need to have kind of documentation. And for that documentation, report is important. OPAC is normally online public access catalog. Today's date, we'll see how it has changed. It is not in the intranet or on campus accessibility. We required wide range of accessibility. Now, the concept is integrated library system. Previously, what happened, many of the library software vendors I know, previously they used to sell their software for a circulation, for a cataloging purpose and circulation purpose, not for the OPAC, not for the serial control. So their basic model is normally based on the cataloging and circulation. And cataloging, they have a books and books management system, and in circulation they have a members management system. Now, today's date, the software is different. It's always integrated. It's integrated with the everything. That means previously it was only selected specific field, module based, but sometimes it's happened they never give you the serial control system. Sometimes they never give you the web pack. But today's date, whenever you are going to purchase a kind of software, it's called basically integrated library management system and integrations of modules. That is basically called integrations of module. And in integrations of module, you will see the RFID system, access control system, reading log system, digital signage system, ebook management system, ebook publishing system. These all are integrated with the library automation system or library automation software. So these are the new era, new initiative. Now, when you think for a library automation system, a library with an integrated library system, you could see that in one area, one portion, people are doing reference service, somewhere cataloging, somewhere circulation, somewhere acquisitions, somewhere serial management system. And OPAC is normally done by the user because users do not have a direct interface of these models. And file server is kept somewhere else. So you are directly connected with the local area network and the work is going right that way. Now, today's date, when we think of a library automation system with a web-based environment, normally what happens, we have an acquisition system, cataloging system, circulation system, serial control, and OPAC database server. But through, you will see the LAN system is working for the user. Sometimes what happens, web service also there. So when you creating a web-based library automation system, you can say it's a web OPAC. So you need to have a public IP address, and public IP address normally taken from the who are the service provider of the public IP or MTNL on telephone services, right? So today's date, whatever the brilliant software is coming up in the market, they are normally web-based library automation system. Now, this is a kind of e-content and modules and how we are going to link up, right? This is basically concept of electronics resource management system. What exactly electronics resource management system, I will tell you. Very interestingly, suppose you are going to issue one book to a user. Then when they return it, again, you are issuing that book to a different user. So if you want to know, for a particular books, how many times that has been issued, so immediately you can get it from the report generations, report area. So in normal circulation system, you have a foolproof accountability of a particular book, of a particular subject, of a particular library member. Same thing can be applied in electronic resources. And how electronic resources is working right of the day. Suppose you are accessing electronic resource, access electronic resource like JSTOR or LZBR in your library. Now, JSTOR or LZBR or Scopus database you can take. Now, how many times that been used, were using? So you need to have one statistics for that. Unless you have a concrete statistics, you couldn't understand it has been how much it has been used. So for usability purpose, you need to have a kind of electronic resource management system. So majority of the finest library automation management system, they are linked up with the electronics resource management system. Sometimes you will find there are some agencies who are just selling or just working on the resource management system. Some libraries are purchasing electronic resource management system separately, but it is recommended that it should be connected with the normal library automation concept. This is basically how we are going to do that. This is a bibliographic database, web server, this web OPAC, PC connected to internet, then PC in LAN, right that way. You can think of that. Now, coming to the more complexity, you can have an external application, you can have a file system, you can have a application server through JBoss. Normally, we do it. It's a common venture. Then computer connected to it with the TCP/IP connectivity. You can access all those resources from the library. That is more in a generalized, in a complex process of a library automation system. This is little higher concepts. You can see you have a web browser. You can see you can local library patterns is also there. You have a MARC record repository, Z39.50 through 50 server. You can connect with the other libraries also. On the other hand, you have a library staff also. So these are a complex process of a library automation system. Once we start from the beginning, very lower level applications, then gradually we come up with the new concepts and come up to a better connectivity into the library automation system. This is a timeline of information access, because in 1980s, you could understand from this, you can see here the University Tunisia. My friend, Professor Bharat Mehra is the professor over there. We have met several times in Ireland, London. So they people do this one. In 1980s, library automations is started. Then it came up with an online library, then electronics library, then digital libraries, virtual libraries. Now, this era is a digital repository or open access, because then journal has shifted from the normal printed publications to the open access system. Now, evolution of library automation, how it came. So importantly, we need to understand it is not a one-day game. It has came very gradually and very concretely, because applications of anything in a one particular system, it started the concept of automations. It's not the circulation of the books or searching of bibliographic databases into the library. It's always the concept where you are using some kind of devices, add-on devices, for doing some kind of reducing some kind of mechanical job. So we'll look forward how it has came up. If you look in 1960s, library broadcasting system, electronics library, both has started in 1960s. There are many libraries in the world who started broadcasting from the library system. Then here you can see this is this kind of what it's called, it's a headphone kind of thing, so a transmitter, right? So here this broadcasting normally taken by the user right that way. It is a microphone over here, and this is a transistor. Through transistor they used to. So on that time, what happened? Many eminent persons, scholars used to sit in the library. They talked about their subject, and that been transmitted to the library users. So that is also concept of library automations, because you are started using some component, some devices in the automations. In 1960s, IBM 357 computer has initiated, because IBM have donated this computer for the application into the library. Now, 1960s, again, computerized circulation system started. You can see both the library are issuing books in a different way. It's not the manual work. It has started with some kind of computerized circulation system. I'm talking the era of 1960s. Now, this is 2020s. You can understand how many years back. Now, in 1970s, telephone hotline being introduced for the reference service in many libraries in this world. So people usually asked many reference questions to that telephone and they used to answer it. This is also kind of a library automations. In 1970s, bibliographical retrieval, data retrieval system has started. You can see that computer is not graphical user, it's a character user computer, and through this, people are searching the bibliographical data. In 1970s, end of door guard, many libraries in the world, they replaced the door guard into a security system. They started using electromagnetic or electronic scanner for the security of the books. So it has gone. Now, 1980s, OCLC has started a bibliographical or the catalog searching through the computer with a character user interface, XT computer in 1980s. You can see 1980s, barcoding in the book has started in USA. Barcoding of books, 1980s. Hard catalog aimed in 1980s. It has transformed into the computer catalog. 1980s, first online catalog has started. It replaced the card, the catalog. It's a huge place, has been used for the library book stock. It has changed. Now it has introduced in a character user interface with the XT computer. 1980s, Union catalog, printed Union catalog, sometimes some libraries usually held. But in 1980s, what happened? Remote access to online catalog started. Remote access to online catalog started. That means from one library to other library, you can able to access their catalog. So that is basically called remote access online catalog. In 1990s, the internet service has came up. Then it started distributing the digital content for the library management. Then audio-visual self-learning. So it started the era of networking. So every library, the computer is connected throughout the world. And you can able to access many things from the computer. So it started. So that's why this time you probably you have heard 1990s, the Delnet, Calbinet, Pune network, Bombay library network. So there are many library networks started. Then immediately after it, probably in 2000, immediately end of the 1990s and beginning of the 2000, immediately started the InfluNet. So it started the networking system of a library, specifically in India. Now this is the era 2000. It's online resources of information, database, e-journal, e-books, newspaper, institutional repository. It has changed differently. It is not today's date. The library, today's date library is different from in the era to 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. That time, if you talk about the PhD in 1980s or even 90s, so I have seen many people used to go different library for collecting the secondary sources of data for the literature review kind of thing. But today's date, by the grace of the government of India, they have getting whole of the resources in their computer, in their institute, in their library. So they usually access all those information. So majority of the work is normally done through networking. So that's the era basically. If you look at the different timeline of pre-computer era, first there was a pre-computer era of unit record equipment, standalone era. Then came of the offline computerization in 1960s, early 1970s. Online system 1970s, because it has followed with the online system, end of 1970s. Then microcomputer era. In the 1980s saw the advent of the microcomputer in the form of PC emergence, CD-ROM technology, because in that time, 1980s, I have seen it's based on the CD technology, and majority of the journal and abstracting services, indexing services, they used to send CD, and people used to access all the CD. Some of the CDs are normally kept in the LAN port that can be accessible by the many people in the library. The 1990s, it started the web era, internet revolution. It's changed the concept. Network has changed. Then open era. This is the era. Now today you will see majority softwares and things are open, because unless you give open, people are not going to purchase it, because they'll spend money on different things, because unless it's very much important to a person, they're not going to spend for it. So this is a very interesting era. It's an open source era, open era. So if you look at the different automations concept of a library, the first automation age, the era was characterized by the computerization of library operation by utilizing their commercial automations package software developed in-house. Sometimes what happened, in first era, sometimes majority of the library are developed as software in-house, or either they purchase from the commercial distributor. Then second age, they incorporate the concept of public accessibility has increased. So they started using the OPAC component into the data library automation software. Then it's again incorporate the abstracting and indexing database, union catalog, resource sharing network, library consortia has started in this. Then third automation era, it's era which characterized by the full text access electronics document over high-speed communication channels. Today's date, basically, from last 20 years, some 20 years, 1990s, almost, yes, 20 years, I have seen gradually development of this era. It's a full text era. So people used to get book into their computer. It's gradually changed. In the fourth automations is also the network information revolutions era. It's not restricted to any. It's a concept of digital library, multimedia databases, virtual library, major achievement in this era. Most of the automated library system in your country is between third age and fourth age library automation. But yes, some of the libraries in fourth age eras. And fifth age era, it's based on the 2.0 components. Either it could be a library 2.0, or web 2.0. Web 2.0 is nothing. Previously, what happened? It's changed. It was previously it was personal website. It's become blogs. Or if you see many of the component like Wikipedia has changed. Means you can edit some component of a Wikipedia. So this is a concept of, it's not the one-line communications, it's a two-line communications. So this is basically the contribution of the fifth automations generation. Now, this was the development of library and evolutions of library automations. So that was a fifth automations age. Now, phase of the development in library automation, almost the last 45 years. In your book, they have nicely coined the concept. If you look at the concept, 1936 to 59, major event of this time period were as follows: introduction of the punch card system, IBM 420, 403, 402, 403, 407 has introduced. Then whenever Bush introduced the concept of MEMEX in 1945, 1960-69, major quick QUAC mailer system has started working on that. Then Project Interx also initiated on that time, because these are the base of the development, today's development, which was seen as a data retrieval system, or it is IR, information retrieval system. These are the base. HP Loon has initiated this concept as a quick Quark, then quick work and uniterm term. So these are the concepts that's initiated on that. But Quark has a very closer to the computer applications. Then in 1960s to 69, Mark initiated. Ballot, Stanford University, Mac, MIT, they have developed this concept, and machine readable catalog. Today's date, what you will see, Mark 21 or Unimark, US Mark, the initiation has started in 1960s, 69. In 1970 to 79, important achievement of the time period is microcomputer introduced into the library. Then OCLC has started. Then they have created one standard for ISO 2709 to develop in 1973 for data exchange format. Probably the concept of CC have also initiated from that time. So in 1970s to 79, ISBD also appeared on that period. So that time they normally started with the data exchange concept. Then 1980-89, CD-ROM has a enough impact LAN OPAC system, then LAN architect, structural different variability different into the computer. It is not working on the one particular component. In this period, software has get up, started boost on a specific application oriented concept. So this period has better initiated periods because many technology has came up. Then in 1999, web-based concept has came, Dublin, then Z3950 bibliographical concept has initiated. So this is another era when they understand that if you want to do network, you need to have a one kind of standard for that. Then 1990, then yes, here also you have a web OPAC concept. Mark 21 has came. Then RFID system, many library has started initiated RFID system. IFLA had introduced AFR-BR concepts. Then 2000 to 14, this era is the achievement of mostly web-based system. Mark, XML development, NCIP technology for the hardware device compatibility with the software. Like suppose you are using kind of electron EM tag or RFID system with the one software, then you require middleware, and in middleware you need to have a one NCIP protocol. Either without NCIP protocol, it could not going to be incorporated with the technology. Then in this period, you have a fuzzy search system, wait term search system. So the information retrieval immediately has take different shape. It has not started artificial intelligence on that period, but today's date, you will see in library automation, you will see the concepts of Bluetooth technology, NFC technology, then the artificial intelligence in search. So this is in the library data, in the library OPAC system. You will see there are many applications of artificial intelligence in the search term. Then electronics resource management system. These are the development in this era till date. So we're developing in different way because the era is different. Now in automated library system, mechanization is important aspect. Then you need to have a innovation mentality. Then transformation, change is required. And the most important aspect is that the change is inevitable and it will carry on, right? So this is only constant thing is the art is change. So transformation is required because the technology today you are using for your users, probably after 20 years, that not goes very nicely. It has limitations because the new technology will come up and they will be ready in a cheaper cost. So you need to understand how you're going to use all those technology. Why we required all this? What is the rationale? Improved customer service. The library, this automation system always give you a speedy and accuracy in our workflow. So you need not to wait for anybody. So today, when we're done with the RFID system, so no user need not to worry for the person who are going to issue our books to them. They usually come up, they do with themselves. Cataloging improvement. The cataloging has changed because when you have seen the cataloging, there is a huge cataloging box. You cannot carry all those cataloging box to any places. So in that part, what happened to this date, any cataloging system in any library in this art that can be accessible, then easier access. Every library, so it is not that library what is hold. It is important, it's accessibility, usability, right? Suppose you have a 10 billion books in your library and usability is 1,000. It doesn't make any sense because unless it's usable, unless it's required by the people, it doesn't make any sense. So unless you go for the automations or go for the kind of remote accessibility, the resource will use nicely. Then collection. Today's date, majority libraries are closed. You do not have a accessibility of printed book into the library. But we are fortunate enough that we have an enlist, Influinet, or we have other electronic resources where student able to access all those books, all those resources. Then lasting effects. Automations, it's a concept. Suppose today you are using in some component as a library automation, and that can be extensible in the future. So it could be an add-on concept of technology. Now, what are the prerequisites and steps? System level requirement, software level requirement, step for library automation. What is system level requirement? What for, and how many libraries you are going to using this automations concept? What will be the data capacity? How many people are going to use all this software system? Then software level requirement. How we are going to access all the software, and the security is concerned. So these need to be studied first. Then step for the library automation. One by one, you can go forward. Why I'm giving this picture behind? So when you think of a library automation, things how in India, the C-Link of Bombay Marine has done. It was a tedious job. They done it so nicely. Why they have able to success? Because they gone through the system level requirement, software level. They don't require software, but yes, some mechanism they required. Then steps. What are the steps they have taken? Because it's a live ocean, and how they have done these things, because it's a bigger task. So when you are doing library automation, think that you are not doing a huge task. You are doing some kind of task which can be helpful for the coming generation. Then today's date, how for successful library automations, you need to think that it should be connected with the e-publishing. It should be it can accommodate the change education policies. Today's date, you have seen that the education policies of India is going to be changed. Is that the library automation systems is going to adopt all those changes? Then e-learning. What are the e-learning capacity? Then how we are going to create information sources on that? And you need to study the user expectations. And of course, the human resources you have to study. And the last of all, library service. What are the service you are going to do for your users? So, user expectation and human resource and library services. Then procedural model. Library housekeeping operations, we have already seen. These are the basic components. And if you go for the acquisition, these are the select, order, receive, accessioning. This is the same component. And initiate, authorize. We're going to activate this. We're going to record it is. We're going to report it. And who can cancel this concept? So this is one. What are the system, subsystem, operational, procedure, and activities required for the library automation system or in a housekeeping operation? Procedure and activities: initiate, then authorize, then activate, then record and report, and then cancel. So when you initiate any concept, we're going to initiate that. Who is going to purchase a book? Who is authorized for that? What activity is required for that? What kind of record you are required for the purchasing of book? Then what will be the report when you will purchase, come up with that? Are you going to cancel on this, some of the books or not, some of the vendors? So this is, who are going to do this? This is a part of procedure of activities. In traditional automated digital 3 era of library system is that e-journal, online database, remote digital libraries, and global institutional repositories. Search interface, you required a common search interface. It's basically called Federation of Search, Federated Search Engine, which can accommodate one by one. Now, your library, it could be an automated versus a digital library system. In an automated library system, only metadata, cataloging data, or finally subscribed. Automated of library system and digital library system, I need to make clear for that. Metadata, cataloging, finally searchable, provision of description data, set not document, Z39.50 standard होना चाहिए, Mark 21 या CCF होना चाहिए. These are the concepts. Digital में भी metadata search है, resources finally searchable. So these are the concept of different, but used by the library user. If it is automated library system, it will be helpful for the users. If it is a digital library system, it is also be very accessible, very much accessible for the users. Both are benefited by that, but we need to understand the technology behind that. What are the technology being used? Because in digital library also you need to have a database. And in library automation, you have a data. But both the data is different. Where you talked about the data of library, it's a data of library with some standard. That standard cannot be applied for the digital library. Digital library has a different kind of standard. It will be different. Now coming to the standard related library automation system, first, when you think, just think, you are going to create one databases. And within one databases, you will see you are creating a database and you know bibliographic format. In bibliographic format, so we need to one standard. So Mark 21 is a certain standard which is followed by throughout the world. So that standard need to be taken care of. Then record structure, character set, exchange media, serial item, contribution identifiers, circulation, NCIP technology, barcode technology. If you're using barcode, so code 39 is mandatory. Yeah, Cadaver. Resource sharing and interlibrary loan, ILL, interlibrary loan protocol is required in your software. If you think of information retrieval, you need to understand the concept of Z39.50. It's a standard protocol, standard for the information retrieval. Then if you think about the command searching, then you need to have a CQL, metadata, Unicode, encoded archival description, web access, open URL, and XML. Local network, local area network, IEEE 802XX, or Hodgson 2002. These concepts can be applicable into the standard of a library automation system. If you think about the different softwares, available in the market. So this is all these 8 softwares are freely available in the market. So you can download from your computer. It's a very interesting software. Koha, Evergreen, Bibliothèque, OpenBiblio, Invenio, PMB, OPLAS, New GenLib. Probably you will see the Evergreen is a fine software, but it's fulfilled probably I have not given. It has all the features which required for a library. Probably Koha some missing, but New GenLib and Evergreen has a tremendous good software because people are shouted with the Koha. That's why Koha becomes so popular. But at the same time, you will see New GenLib also, or Evergreen is also one of the finest software. But we need to explore it. Coming to the silent feature of a library automation software, it should be .NET 2.0 framework. Visual statistical representation is required. RFID ready, that means NC 2.0 HTTP server need to be incorporated. Z39.50 important enables library to search import enables library to search and import record from various Z39.50 libraries across the globe. That means if one library is using Z39.50, if you require kind of software that immediately the data can be incorporated or imported into your software. Mark 21 import export, auto scheduled task, email, database maintenance, etc. New flavor of librarian or XI with tape library module, enable broadcasters, manager complete record for their tape, CDs, DVDs. The most important aspect with those, because with the book you have a technology ready with you, but how we are going to automate all those materials into the library. But digital references for the books and other items, including URL, PDF, PPT, DOC, XLS, extensive webpack is required. User configurable webpack is important because sometimes you need to search through your mobile phone. Support Unicode. Unicode is a whole concept basically, but Unicode is required for the multilingual. Support multi-user environment, multi-location web interface, multi-resource management, embedded, barcode printers friendly, MS Office 2000 is compatible, faster and optimized webpack. This is the basic requirement, or that should be the features of a library automation software when you think of a library automation software. Now, in acquisitions job, what are the computerized acquisitions job? These are the list of work which can carry forward in the acquisitions. These are the total job you need to carry forward. So what are the job? Let's have a look. Report titles requested, report items, supplier booksellers, items selected for approval, then send the report, and then it is come, it will take the order that particular list, then received it, processed it, and pay it. So on that process, you need to follow all those steps, and this report is required in acquisitions report. What are the report you require? You wanted to print the barcode level, it is possible. Then you need to list of suppliers, budget with commitment, report of detailed annual budget of library. So these are the component of that. Then computerized cataloging system, basic requirement, bibliographical requirement, authority control requirement, OPAC requirement, download requirement. These are the requirement of a cataloging subsystem. Then title in process means what title you are being ordered and it has came into the library. That is basically called title in process. Then retrospective conversion. Retrospective conversion means suppose your library using some standard. Suppose using DDC. Then you're going to transform it into CC, colon classification. Then you require the help of retrospective conversion. Existing library catalog in machine readable form. Union catalog. Commercially available files of MARC record. Then authority control, data entry. For newly acquired document, for existing old stock, then downloading. handling new subscriptions, handling renewal of, this is for the serial control, handling new subscription, handling renewal of subscription, cancellation of subscription, budget control, department unit-wise budget, invoice processing, invoice for individual issues for annual and subscription, recording the receipt of journal issue, formula for generating expected issue, managing missing issue. The most important is missing issue. Sometimes many journal has missed on the way, but today's date it has changed because majority of the journal is coming through the electronic form, so we don't hardly require any printed journal. Dealing with the special edition, in what happened with the special editions, the publishers sometimes say ask for the money for special editions, but it's depend upon how we are going to convince all those people. Then dealing intelligently with the name change, because in sometimes what happened, journal title has changed. Sometimes journal split it into two different parts. Then how we're going to control binding all those journal, because tedious job. The binding of journal is a very tedious job. Accessioning bound volumes, barcode of accessioning's number, report generations. So these are the journal of serial control. Then subscription of acquisitions, selecting vendors, payment, then reminder, all those things. Then in circulation system, most important part is that information about the borrower, name, address, telephone number, code, borrower category, then information about the resource being borrowed, call number, resource identifications number, title, author, publications year, edition, and reservation details. So important is date of issue and date of return. So that is the main date we can calculate it. Beside this, you need to have the concept of MIS, Management Information System, for the report and statistic, analysis of statistics, usage statistics, which is very much required. Then interlibrary loan, ILL protocol, ILL management, outreach services like community information services, social networking support. Suppose your library may be connected to either Facebook or Twitter. Then you need to prepare a library blog, online help for the users. Sometimes we call online librarian. They used to take all the online queries from the users. Digital media archive, full text search, support for the media formats, federated search facilities. Then you require the system administration, privilege control, branch management, backup and restoration, system configuration. So these are the system requirement. Now, some of the recommendations as given by the Open Library Environment we'll discuss in our next classes, digital library federations, because this recommendation is basically how we are going to carry forward the library automation job. But what the process are required. Then they have given a proposal request for proposal develop, how we are going to, basically it's a kind of job card. What are the things you are going to do one by one in different months, because it's a continuous process. When you take up one library automation project, then it's required some times, and within that period of time you have to be very focused how these works are going on, and is that our goal going to be achieved within a certain period of time. So that's why they have created ERFP, that means request for proposal. So this is one concept. Now, automated library system trained and future. What will be the next generation library automation? What are the features are going to do? Service-oriented architecture in ILS, cloud-based library automation system, linked open data, web-scale library management system, Web 2.0 compliant ILS, information master, interactive user interface, OPAC 2.0, new catalog standard, application of discovery tools, digital media archiving model, community information service as outreach process, increasing use of open source software, emergence of open standard, interoperability and capabilities, multilingual record management through Unicode. So these are the next generation. Probably some of the things you may not be understand. take examples of service-oriented architect. How we are going to service, what are the area of service in your library that will map, and that will be, with that, they will create an architect on library automation system. Then cloud-based system. So majority of the library, majority of the library automation software people are asking that you required a kind of server which will be act as a cloud servicing, right? When you think of a cloud servicing, so your data and your what is called your data and the whole software will be in the cloud. So you need to have a one internet connectivity into your computer in your library, so you can be able to access your all data. Then linked open data. So whatever the open data is available, that should be linked with your software. Then web scale library management. Your library management system, there need to be a kind of scalability with the web enabled services. Web 2.0 compliant with ILS, because there are many libraries come up with the web-based information services that need to be taken care of. Then OPAC 2.0, here you can understand the concept of OPAC 2.0. Previously, what's happened, they usually search it. Now, when you are searching a book, you need to write, you can able to write the review of that book. So that's it's called OPAC 2.0. You can create new catalog standard, but importantly, which is multilingual, it is old concept, but majority of the library automation software is right. Interoperability and capability. Suppose your library automation software is very much accessible through the computer, but at the same time, you require the help of the mobile phone, or you can add on some other devices with that. So this is basically called concept of interoperability and scalability. This is basically cloud computing. People are using extensively throughout the world as a cloud computing into their library, because it is platform neutrality. Means you need not to worry about the things. If you have a mobile phone, or if you have a tab, you can able to perform your duties nicely. Because today's date, that library, the concept, the user has changed. If you look at the MP3, it's become iPod. Britannica Online, it's gone to Wikipedia. Personal website, it's become blog. Documentations, which is now it's become wikis. Directories, it's become tag. Stickiness and syndications. Now you will see the blocks is basically used for the 2.0. It's user comment. Wiki is user rating. RSS feeder community citation. Feed aggregation is these both are community services. User tagging, its community photo services. Or Ploxomic or Sky Spectas is a community book services. Now, here you can see, understand the shared picture, the Flickr, shared video, YouTube, shared news and podcast, Deek or iTunes, shared knowledge, it's Wikipedia, shared bookmark, social bookmarking system, shared project is Google Docs or something like that. Shared, you can share Facebook or MySpace, shared library things, and shared virtual library, live, Second Life. Library users are different. Libraries are different. They are usually not as usual, because they are not coming with the pen and pencils. They are coming with all this technology. So your cataloging system has changed from here. That was previously this catalog system. Now it has changed in the right that way. So previously we used to do with the barcode technology. Now we usually print barcode right that way. This is a concept of barcode technology you have seen in the malls and many shops. This is also kind of barcode reader. This is barcode. It's called basically PDA, or not. It is PDA. It's a wireless barcode reader. This is magnetic tape, which through you can search, you can tag one books for security purpose. This is electromagnetic tag demagnetized and magnetized device, and this is a demagnetized device, which you can just demagnetize it, then it will be magnetize it, then when it's returning it, and demagnetize when it's going out, going for the loop. This is a RFID sticker. We pasted RFID sticker in different places. We'll show. This is RFID sticker. This is a RFID map. This is a RFID stack, smart tag. It has an antenna. We'll study very nicely. Here you can see the antenna and the interaction with the RFID. Through antenna, we usually read and write. We write, then we read. So this whole process is going on frequently with the RFID technology. This is a smart level. This is a reader anatomy. How it looks like. It also looks like a motherboard. It's become two concepts. So sorry. Yes, this is a book drop kiosk for RFID system. Then it is stop station, where usually done through this is self-circulation kiosk in RFID. Right. This is NFC concept, and it's we'll study all those things within that period. So this is all about I forget to paste the Bluetooth technology. We're going to use Bluetooth technology, but later on we will definitely study the Bluetooth technology. So thank you so much.